One, two, one, two, three.
Welcome to the Sneaking into the Movies podcast. I'm Max Nathan.
And I'm Norman Davis. This week, we're going to be talking about Oz Perkins' latest film, The Monkey, and some other monkey-related things, as well as a surprise appearance from a special guest. Max, before we get into The Monkey, what did you think of Longlegs, Oz Perkins' last movie?
So Longlegs I have a complicated relationship with in that the lead up to it was just fantastic. The marketing was so on point for that movie.
Truth.
Everything with the kind of like Zodiac killer inspired coding throughout the trailers and things like that. And the establishment of this very moody, it's not very, honestly, the movie too was kind of similar, but like the trailers really provided this non-traditional flavor that was really interesting and really freaky, if we're putting it simply here. But the movie is that kind of, and you get a great performance from Nicolas Cage. Mommy, daddy. Yeah, you get that? That's
Classic.
all classic stuff. Great stuff. But the ending goes a little off the rails. And I don't really like where we landed on the movie. It kind of prevented itself from being a really great standout, really like breakthrough film for Oz Perkins. It ended up being a little more divisive than I think they were probably hoping. They did fine on the movie, like Neon and Oz Perkins. Like that was a huge movie, huge success. But yeah, I felt like I wanted a little more. I had higher hopes. It kind of ended up being a little bit more surface than I thought it would. Yeah, spoilers for Longlegs, but it's a demon. Like, just kind of like a flat reveal there. But amazing Nicolas Cage performance, and I thought Micah Monroe was pretty good too. What did you think of Longlegs, Norman?
I didn't like it.
Okay.
I wasn't really a fan. I don't know. I just remember, the lead up was crazy. There was some crazy propaganda going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought Nick Cage's performance was great, but I didn't think it was like one of his all-time great performances.
Definitely, yeah.
Even as far as horror movie goes, you can go back to Mandy a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
and it's more my speed.
Still
But
haven't
yeah,
seen it.
I kind of felt, oh, you should see that one.
I know.
It just kind of didn't really go anywhere. I don't know. It just felt a little more flashy than substance. I thought the movie looked beautiful. But yeah, I wasn't too impressed with this one. Yeah, I did think the demon stuff at the end was really stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the movie was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Then I thought the third act was just awful.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think that, I like you said, like it does look great. I think I was really coming out of the movie. What latched onto me the most was how well directed I thought it was. The style really was there. Like it wasn't like the style fell through from trailer to movie. It was there and it was great, and I really felt this dread throughout the movie, which is exactly kind of what they want you to feel. And there's some comedy there, which is kind of what Oz Perkins is interested in here, and the monkey kind of delves more into that comedic realm. And I thought that the movie was really well directed, but like you said, or like both of us said, kind of flat. Kind of ended up being not as much as we had hoped. Not as much to chew on. As we had hoped. But the monkey is here now. And what did you think of the monkey?
Just want to say, and I know we'll get into this later into the episode, crazy PR for monkeys in movies last year. We
Yep.
had a new Apes movie. We obviously had Better Man. And now we got the monkey. It's a good time to be a monkey in a movie.
Yep.
But that being said,
CEO of Monkeys doing big work.
I enjoyed the monkey. I thought it was pretty solid. Get into it more. I think it has some of the same issues as Longlegs, or just has issues like Longlegs, I guess I should say. But
Yes.
I was kind of dreading seeing this. I'm going to be honest with you. I was not too excited, but alas, we are sneaking into the movies. It's what we do.
Did it for the
I
pod.
paid for my ticket,
You
but
brave soldier.
yeah, I liked it. I really didn't look at any trailers or nothing for this, so I didn't realize it'd be so funny. And this movie was freaking hilarious.
I agree.
Theater was eating it up. I was eating it up. I was dying laughing. It kind of felt like Scary Movie at some points. There's something that reminded me like Leprechaun 3, weirdly enough. Just kind of felt like that. Kind of like just a B ridiculous horror movie, which I really liked. Or that's when it was at its best for me. Was when it was leaning more into that and less into stuff we'll talk about in a little bit. But what did you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That the scrappiness of the tone was really fun. It does delve into the way more comedic and the practical and digital. I couldn't tell like when spoilers for the monkey, when bodies explode in the movie, I couldn't tell whether that was digital or practical. I'm assuming it's a mix of both, but really great stuff there. It's honestly, it's used for comedic effect most of the time, and it's really funny. I thought the moment by the pool where Theo James says like, "Oh shit, was that a leg?"
Yeah.
That got my audience laughing like crazy. There were several very big laughs that got the audience involved, which is very cool. I said this when I saw One of Them Days, but you don't realize how special something is until you've gone a long time without it. And laughing in a large audience is a really special thing that makes movies and movie theaters amazing.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and One of Them Days was just a really funny movie where it got the audience involved, people were laughing, and this was similar. I mean, it had the audience kind of, really engaged with the movie, laughing, squirming, like that kind of thing. Just a really great job as far as like engaging an audience goes.
For sure.
The similarities to Longlegs, I think, are kind of like, I won't say like it's that similar to Longlegs for me, my issues with it, but I will say towards the end, when we're getting into like the relationship between the brother and the lore of the monkey, and it kind of like loses me a little bit. Like I'm like when they were being held hostage in the car by the kid who wants the monkey, or they're held at gunpoint by the kid in the car who wants the monkey. I was really checked out. I was like, I don't really give a fuck about this. I want to see someone explode. And I want to laugh. But that part, yeah.
Could not agree more.
Yeah.
My main issue.
I was dozing. Were you dozing during that part?
A little bit. I mean, I don't know. It just became a little jarring at one point where it was just really funny. And there's even still funny stuff going on. Like, just I'm looking outside and the whole city's in ruin. And then, like, we're trying to do this serious, long lost brother storyline while there's this, oh, I'm a bad dad storyline.
Which
they're just both kind of half-baked. I mean, they lead to funny stuff. We get a hilarious Elijah Wood cameo.
Yeah.
So it kind of made all the son stuff all worth it. But yeah, I don't know. I think this movie was really, really at its best when it was just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't maybe if I watch more of the marketing, this would be different. But I had like no idea how ridiculous this would be. Like with the opening, I was like, Adam Scott, what the hell? What's going on here?
Oh my God, it was amazing to see Mark S. in a movie.
Yeah. So, not since Madam Web, but
Oh yeah,
yeah, Adam
film.
Scott, and then that first kill where pulls out his entire intestines. I was like, whoa, we might have a banger on our hands.
Yeah,
And I was feeling that way for a while. I really liked all the stuff when they were kids. I
that
think
was
when
pretty
they kill-
funny. Yeah,
When they kill Uncle Chip, that's like the funniest part of the movie for me.
Yes.
It just cuts to him dead.
the hard cut to the frames at the funeral was a really funny gag that they did over and over again.
Yeah.
Um,
Played
yeah.
by Oz Perkins, by the way.
yes,
Uncle Chip was. Very funny
Gr-
stuff.
great. What do you call those? The chops.
Chops.
He's got the beard going
The
like
lamb chops. Yeah,
the lamb chops there, right there. Some great chops on Oz Perkins.
I have a question for you, by the way.
Yeah.
Did you notice? I think one of the Cuomo. You know the Cuomos, like Andrew.
Yes, Chris Cuomo was one of the,
Was that
the
Chris
guys
Cuomo?
that gets killed. Yeah, I think so.
That was like what?
Yeah, no, I also in my theater I was like, what the fuck?
I
What is
looked
that?
it up and I couldn't find anything except for like people on Reddit talking about the movie. And, like in the comments of that, people were just like, "Was that one of the Cuomos?"
Yeah,
I guess it was.
I couldn't find anything either, but I know that guy's face.
I was
And
gonna say, yeah, I
I
would
think
put
that was
money
that
on it.
guy. But yeah, Chris Cuomo got his face melted off in the movie. Interesting cameo there.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, that was a pretty cool effect too. That one right there, where his face got melted off. What do you think of? What was your favorite death or effect?
No, I was just about to ask you that. I mean, the swimming pool explosion was pretty funny.
Yep.
I think effect-wise, probably Uncle Chip getting trampeded by the horse.
Yeah.
And just opened a sleeping bag and it's just a red slushy. Like that was awful to look at, but I was
Yes.
like, wow, that's something.
I like the guy. I like the guy who was like. Didn't a guy get like run over by a lawnmower and the guy was just like drinking a beer by
Yes,
the
that was
side
pretty
of it?
good.
That was pretty funny. But yeah, no, I my favorite was probably the pool death, just because of how funny it was. And
Yeah.
unexpected. But yeah, no, that was
Then
that
I
was
got
pretty
a
gnarly.
question for you here.
Yeah, what's up?
If you had to die in any way that happened in this movie, which way would you want to go out?
Not the way the first guy goes out. That's for damn sure.
No.
Getting my intestines strung out by a little antique. Not great. Maybe the way that Tatiana Maslany goes out. She's like
painful, dude.
I mean, do you want to blow up? I mean, I guess the blowing
Yeah,
up thing
I'd
is
say-
more instant, but
I'd say probably the shotgun death that the woman looking over their aunt's house and she just kind of explodes just immediately. It's probably the way to go.
yeah.
You may not even know it's happening. But yeah, some gnarly kills in this thing.
Definitely. I think, we're kind of in an interesting era here where, we've talked about this, how like studio comedies have gone not extinct, but, we just had One of Them Days, which was great. But,
Yeah.
that kind of movie, like One of Them Days, where there's two movie stars doing just a straight up comedy, doesn't happen very much anymore. And if it does, and kind of, they tend to go to streaming, whatever. We've now had two, what I would call bloody comedies come out this year in Companion and The Monkey. Do you think this is kind of the way that directors are infiltrating the market basically, and
I would
sneaking
honestly
comedies into the movie theaters.
throw in The Substance there too,
You're absolutely right.
which is nominated for Best Picture.
Which is crazy.
But
Awesome.
yeah, I'm happy that this is happening. Obviously, we're getting a new scary movie. Like that's definitely happening now.
I haven't seen any of those movies, by the way.
You should get on. Those were like my Bible when I was a kid. I used to watch those on a repeat. Before I even saw a lot of the horror movies they were based on.
Yeah.
Like most of my, like The Ring is more a scary movie thing for me than it is the movie The Ring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I used to love those movies. But yeah, it's exciting. Obviously, we kind of had this new wave of psychological kind of thriller horror movie. You know what I mean? Obviously, with Hereditary started that, and kind of getting everything now, which is interesting because it's kind of what Longlegs is. And then here we go
Yes.
with the Monkey, a horror comedy. So
Yes.
some range from Mr. Perkins.
I did think, interestingly enough, with Longlegs as well, I did think the comedic elements of it were one of the stronger points of that movie.
Yeah.
Like when the Longlegs just goes to the, I don't know where he goes. He goes to some store and the girl's behind the counter, and the girl's like, he starts doing his weird little like cuckoo cuckoo thing, and the girl's just like, Dad, that weird old guy's here again. Like it's just like, played completely straight from there. And
Yeah, I
nothing
really like
happens to
in
that girl, but
both these Oz Perkins movies. Very few characters feel like actual real human beings. Like they're just
Yes.
so over the top and ridiculous, like in a movie world.
yep,
Which I do like. I like when movies are like that.
I
think
really
it's
like
fun.
it too.
I'm not going to the Monkey to see something realistic per se.
Yeah. We need like the dark and gritty monkey movie. The psychological horror
The
monkey
psychological, the one with the symbols.
movie. Yeah.
So, did you see why the monkey has drums in this movie?
I did not. Why does the monkey have drums in this movie?
So, as you probably know, and most people may know, this monkey in this movie, it's like a classic kid's toy from long before our time. But typically, this monkey has symbols. The toy.
As presented in Toy Story 3.
Here's the thing. Day one of working on this movie, a producer walks up to Oz Perkins and says, "We can do the movie, you can't do the symbols because Disney copyrighted the symbol monkey for Toy Story 3.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
So, honestly, I was talking about this with Bria when we got out of the theater, but she made a good point that the drums kind of works better, I feel like. It creates more suspense. Obviously, when the arm is just up and you're waiting for it to go down and someone to die in a hilarious way. But yeah, that is pretty crazy. Just that's as far as the Disney copyright goes.
Yeah.
But
Who knew you could copyright a classic children's toy?
yeah, I mean, they didn't copyright the
Disney.
phone for that movie 'cause obviously the
Yeah.
phone reprises role as the phone in Skinamarink.
Yes.
But
The Skinamarink phone.
the
Did you see
Skinamarink phone-
Skinamarink?
Dude, I saw that in theaters.
Okay, sick. Me too.
I didn't sleep after I saw that movie. That
Yeah, it
was
was
like
pretty-
the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
That was
Yep.
awful. It was like incredible. Like it was a really, really good movie.
Yeah.
But me and my buddy were the only ones in that theater, and I just went home. I was like, I'm not sleeping tonight.
Yeah.
I had like awakened a fear in me I hadn't felt in a long, long time.
Definitely. That
Shout out Kyle Edward Ball, I believe is the director.
Yes, that is the director.
Ball knower. But yeah, that was a little monkey fact for you, just in case anyone's wondering why he's not using his traditional symbols that you usually see.
Yeah, I do think, like you said, the drum is kind of a more like imposing instrument, I guess, than the cymbals. It makes a more potentially ominous sound. Like the cymbals are kind of like, it would have worked, but I think the drum is kind of better. I think the drum is a little bit of an improvement for this movie.
Yeah. It's a spooky sound, especially at the
Yeah.
end when the monkey goes crazy.
Yes.
That was getting me a little spooked. and then planes fall out of the sky and everything. But
That was pretty funny when the whole town just dies basically all at once.
yeah, like that reminded me of Bottoms. I don't know, this movie.
Yeah,
I think just how fake the world felt reminded me of Bottoms in a really good way. I really liked Bottoms. It's just
Like
very like
hyper
the
stylized.
cheerleaders, yeah, like outside the house, and then obviously they're on the bus at the end, just going woo for no
Yeah.
reason.
Everybody's like a caricature of an
The
archetype.
baby on fire was very funny.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. We've talked about, the kind of like style of the movie, how funny it is. What do you think of the overall like meat on the bone here with regards to what the movie is kind of like thematically about here? Or does it matter to you very much at all?
No, when I start to think about it, that's kind of where the movie falls flat for me.
Okay.
Like I said, the whole brother thing. It was fine, like it was funny, seeing him wearing his childhood suit, and then they try to get all serious and let's all go on this road trip. And I'm like, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of what it comes down to. I thought the son stuff wasn't as bad, but same thing. I just wasn't really emotionally invested in these characters. I think the way they wanted me to be. Found a little jarring, where we'd go from something ridiculous to some serious moment, and that serious moment is ruined by someone getting their head blown off with a cannonball.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I found it a little jarring, and that's where
Yeah.
my biggest issues with this movie lay. Kind of towards the third act, which might be an Oz Perkins thing.
Yeah. Gotta iron out that third act a little bit.
Yeah, I saw a Letterboxd review for this movie. It's a little harsh, but kind of true. The best part of this movie is about it's directed by Oz Perkins, and the worst part of this movie is it's written by Oz Perkins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, yeah, this is now 2 movies of his in a row where I have not really found myself too invested on the characters and what happens with them.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a shame, because I think it keeps both Longlegs and The Monkey from being much, much better movies.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you with like the stuff at the end with the brothers kind of like coming together is like I was pretty checked out at that point. But I think like the overall kind of like idea of humanity not being in control of anything, the world is complete chaos, and there might be things that allow us to think we can manipulate our surroundings, and it'll only hurt yourself and the people around you. I think that as an idea is kind of interesting. Like humanity being almost just not in control of anything, and there's these dark forces that we don't understand. It's very basic stuff,
Yeah.
and simple stuff. But I think as an idea, as a concept for a simple horror comedy, it works, and it's interesting enough. And I kind of like stories like that. So
Yeah, I think that part was definitely stronger than the character work going on.
yeah. Yeah, the kid too was kind of like felt a little like all the dad stuff. Like everybody's got a missing dad, and it was kind of like, okay, I kind of get what you're doing here, but also like, he's not really coming through that much.
Yeah.
It was cool to see Adam Scott as the dad. I did think we would get more of him after that, because the opening line from Theo James in the movie is like, I didn't think that, or some dads leave on like I'm gonna botch the opening line of the movie, but
Yeah.
he says something along the lines of like, some dads, leave some traumatic baggage or whatever, and mine definitely did. I thought we were going to see him after that, and what happened to him and the monkey and that kind of thing. Because he shoots the monkey with a flamethrower, and presumably Adam Scott's his dad. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe
think
maybe he wasn't, but
because they said they briefly mentioned their dad was a pilot or something, and he's dressed like
Yeah,
a
and they
pilot.
grabbed the coat in the
Yeah.
closet. So I guess that was his dad. Kind of weird that he doesn't show up, right? In any of the rest of the movie.
Yeah, a little weird, but
Or we see his death or anything.
yeah, he just disappears. But some dads do that.
Yeah,
Shout out to the dads who stay.
for real. Um, what do you think of what do you make of the ghost that shows up at the end of the movie? Or the Horseman of the Apocalypse, I guess, is what it would be.
I don't know. Like we kind of said, I was kind of checked out at that point.
Yep.
I thought it was supposed to be more funny than anything.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? Sounds like
Yeah,
you got a little more on your mind about this.
I'm also kind of like there. I was honestly asking you to see if you had any idea, but
Honestly, not at all. It was something they
Yeah,
were talking about the
just
entire movie, and then it
yeah.
happened. So
just an Oz Perkins little throw in there. You get the
Yeah.
Horseman of the Apocalypse. It was kind of in a comedic moment, wasn't it? Like they were saying, like, oh, like everything's probably going to be okay, and then the Horseman of the Apocalypse shows up. I think is kind of like the vein of the moment it was in.
yeah, and like the light only turns red, so the horseman can cross.
Yeah.
Then the horseman crosses, and the light turns green again.
Yes.
I don't know. I think it was just kind of like maybe like replacing the monkey as something that's kind of always following these characters around.
Yeah.
I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah. I think that is probably right on. I think that it's, they keep the monkey, and it makes me think of like, I guess with great power comes great responsibility. Like maybe the best hands are our own when it comes to this thing. Like it's a terrifying nightmare monkey, but we have it and it's dangerous. So the best hands are our own. We understand what it does. Who knows what they do with it, what they actually end up doing with it. But at the end of the movie, they take it. And I think that has to do with, it's kind of like the dad stuff in the movie, like how that's kind of interesting. Where the dads in the movie are absent and leave their children, and that's obviously a huge responsibility having a child, and comes with good and bad things. And it's almost like they almost just like treat a child like children in the movie as like a curse that you're forced to bear, I guess. And,
Yeah.
it's a huge responsibility to make sure that the child turns into something good for humanity. And I think that kind of them keeping the monkey at the end of the movie probably is symbolic of a father taking responsibility for his child,
Right.
which is cool. I like that. But yeah, I think that's probably sums up my thoughts on the monkey. I liked it. Kind of bored by the, stuff at the end, like I said, but really fun horror comedy. Yeah. Where are you at? Final thoughts, Norman?
Yeah, kind of the same way. I enjoyed this a lot more than Longlegs. I will say that. At its best, this is an awesome horror comedy. In the vein of something like Scary Movie and like Leprechaun. And I promise you when I say that, that is a really good thing. I know those aren't the best movies ever, but those are awesome movies. So, and at its worst, yeah, it's just a little convoluted and it's trying to force a narrative out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Your opinions on Oz Perkins changed at all? I know both of his movies I feel like have been incredibly divisive. There's people who say he's the next Jordan Peele, Ari Aster. There are people who would disagree. How do you feel about him as of right now as a director?
I like him. I have only seen Longlegs and the Monkey. He has some previous work like The Black Coat's Daughter. But I would say I end up on the positive end of both Longlegs and the Monkey. I'm not ready to crown him as, the next big thing in horror movies or movies in general quite yet. I think that he still has a way to go, but I have liked his projects and I'm excited to see what he does next. Let me ask you, what do you hope he does next?
I don't know. I mean, he has another movie coming out this year, which we'll see what happens there. I hope he makes a Marvel movie. I'm just kidding.
I was like, for real?
Yeah, it's time. The Marvels 3.
Yep. Ant-Man 4.
Ant-Man 4. Spider-Man 5. Shang-Chi 2.
Thor 7.
Thor 7. I don't know. I hope he kind of stays more in this comedy lane and less in this serious demon lane. I don't know. I think I like the monkey. I didn't hate Longlegs. I didn't love it, but it wasn't like egregious or anything bad like that. I saw a lot of other slop crap last year that was worse than Longlegs. I mean, he can make a movie look beautiful.
Crap.
Slop crap.
Gotta coin that. That's officially coined on the Sneaking of the Movies podcast. Slop crap.
But yeah, I don't know. He just keeps making movies look beautiful and keep making them funny.
Yes.
And
I quite enjoy the funny.
We'll see what's next for Mr. Oz. But you want to go on a quick break here?
Let's go on a quick break.
All right. And we are back. And we have a very special guest once again. And today it is Sydney Marsalis. And she is here to talk about a new exciting project she's working on and how you listeners can help. So, hello, Sydney.
Hi there.
We are excited to have you on here, Sneaking
Yes.
into the Movies. So,
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Do you want to give us a little background on your filmmaking history, what you've been up to the last couple years?
Yeah, for sure. I started off just doing little screenwriting things whenever I used to be a STEM major at a different college. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should give filmmaking a try. So I transferred over to Texas State, and I've been here for about 3 years now. And I usually work in camera crew, so that's going to be your lighting department or physically working on the camera. And I've been writing on the side, but this is the second time I've ever been able to actually write something and fully create a film just from like the fabric of my mind.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
Awesome.
yeah, and I get to make my pre-thesis film. It's called The Moth, and it is for a class, but it's also a passion project that I'm very excited about.
Cool. Yeah. You want to tell us a little bit about The Moth? What we can expect?
For sure, yeah. It's basically a historical fiction piece. It takes place loosely surrounded around the late 90s, and it's placed in the recovery community and also sheds light on a bit of LGBTQ historical events. It centers around these two characters. It's this couple. Our protagonist is Winifred. Her friends call her Freddie. And she's a part of the recovery community for a little while. And she gets kicked out of her Narcotics Anonymous group for her queerness. She's visibly queer. She's very unapologetic about it. And, you know, all of her best friends kick her out of this group that was like, you know, her one support. And that's, you know, it's a hard thing to go through. So she hides it from her partner. And her partner's just so proud of her for her recovery and everything. She's like, let's go to an art show. I put you in and we're all going to celebrate you this evening. Da 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 da. And she just has this guilt monster named Clementine. He's like this gigantic like vomit ghost guy.
Awesome.
and
Yeah.
he's following her around like during the upcoming events before the art show, and he just, oh my god, he wrecks havoc the whole night. She's seeing things that aren't really there. She's having like all these like body horror elements. I took a little bit of inspiration from The Substance, so it gets a little gross towards the end,
You're
but
speaking our language.
Yes.
it's definitely, we call it the dramatic thriller, because it's a drama at first, but by the end of it you're like, damn, it gives you a little bit of goosebumps towards the end.
Definitely.
Very cool. Yeah.
Mhm.
Sounds really relevant too. Obviously, we have a new administration who's not doesn't seem to be very big on LGBTQ rights and all that. So sounds like something important coming out at a time like this.
I have a question.
So,
Yeah.
So you mentioned it was a 90s period piece, right?
Loosely based.
Okay. How are you planning on creating the 90s in the present day? Are there any like production design elements that you're working with or anything like that, or
I
is it
love this
cool?
question. So the first thing that we did was I wrote this piece with the location in mind. We have a historic Price Center. Well, not historic Price Center, sorry. A historic location named the Price Center. It used to be a
Okay.
church in about the 1800s, and it was revamped. So it's looked the same for the entirety of it. It looks the exact same as it did in the 90s. And as for set design and wardrobe, um, I made this kind of material palette on Pinterest and Canva whenever I was first writing it up. And my producer, Preston, he saw it and he goes, "Oh my God, this is huge." That's like his favorite thing. He goes, "This is so huge." And
he
he
does say that
goes,
a bit.
right? He goes, "Sid, give me like 2 seconds." And he comes back with a list of like three different rental houses for period piece, like vintage clothing. And I was like, "Oh my God, how do you know these people?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, I worked with them before, man. They give us a discount. Da, 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 da. They love me over there." I was like, "Wow, this is gonna be so sick." So that's what our plan is for wardrobe. And then we have, everyone loves Facebook Marketplace. I've been picking up a few furniture pieces over there. And the only thing that might be a little bit more modern is going to be the art pieces themselves in the art show, because those will
Okay.
be like local works. But best
Awesome.
believe that wardrobe is gonna slay the house away.
Yeah. Sounds really cool. Um, so yeah,
So
it was primarily born out of like you guys had like the cool you had a bunch of cool stuff like lined up and you like just decided like 90s period piece, or did you write it as that and it kind of like came to fruition?
It definitely started with the writing.
Okay.
And the first few drafts of this, it took place about a month after the murder of Matthew Shepard. And then this was also the first wave of the opioid crisis. These both happened in 1998.
Okay.
But as we, started to come up with location and started seeing, before I knew about all the wardrobe options, making a period piece in college is like super, super
Oh
hard.
yeah.
definitely.
And then we ran into, some copyright claims, and I was like, maybe this should just be like inspired, and it should just be like
Mhm.
around the mark and not hitting the bullseye. And so that's kind of where we settled on.
Awesome. It's really
Very
awesome that
cool.
you guys are taking that challenge on. That's really, it's not easy and it's excited to see it.
Oh yeah, it's ambitious for sure, but I think that's what makes it more fun.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Very cool. Do you want to explain a little about how we and our listeners here can help you with crowdfunding or wherever we can find that, or how that's all being taken care of?
Oh yes, of course. So there's this little website called Indiegogo. Some people use it for different kind of fundraisers, but most of the people I know use it to fund their short films. The main reason that we are looking for outsourced funding is because there's been an unprecedented influx of students, and we had a lot of equipment break down last semester. So
Dang.
we're starting with more people and losing equipment just because of environmental things. We've had two floods in the theater program, so we're all scrapping for resources.
Sure.
And so our main expenses here are really the lights that we use and our camera. We're going to be filming on a Sony FX6. It's a really beautiful piece of equipment. It's been used by Netflix before and a lot of other filmmakers that I know. It's, it's what we're skilled at, but it's going to be a little costly just because it takes a lot of good materials with the upkeep and the lens package, of course. But that's where the majority of funds will go, as well as catering to keep our crew, nice and fed so they have energy to work those, 10-hour days of filming. And
Yes.
our
Very important.
Oh yeah. And our distribution plan for this is going to be quite lengthy. For those that don't know, a short film run is usually about 2-ish years to hit all the big festivals and then we kind of like to call it a victory lap home, because they like to make your debuts at the bigger festivals like, Sundance, Austin Film Festival, or like things like that are like award qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second year is usually doing those like younger, newer festivals where you can get like, fan favorite or, favorite like director or best actor's performance. That's kind of like the second year. And so due to the timing on how we're doing this, by the time we are completely done with our festival run for this film, our distribution plan is to find some kind of outlook to get this out into the world right in time for Matthew Shepard's 30th anniversary of his legacy and the creation of his nonprofit. Which we came into that discovery of the timing of it when I was writing my second draft, and I looked at Preston and I was like, "Holy moly, this is going to be like right in time for that." So,
That's awesome.
Regardless of how it performs, this will be out to the public for that anniversary, for that, give a little to the community and some acknowledgement there.
Very cool. So yeah, you said it's a Indiegogo that folks can go and help you. Yeah, obviously we'll post that on Sneaking Into the Movies. So for our listeners, you can find that link there. Help when you can. It goes a long way. But yeah, anything else you wanted to go over, Sydney?
One of our fun we have incentive perks for those that choose to donate. My personal favorite one, we just added it in. I think we named it like Super Spy or something like that. It's one of the cheaper options where you can choose to get updated BTS photos like as the production goes on. And one of the coolest things that we're going to feature on that is going to be the creation of our antagonist, Clementine. He's a giant puppet, and we're going to be crafting him from literally nothing. So if you want to see how his building process goes and all of his different transformations in real time, that would be a really cool thing to tune into.
That's really incredible that you're making a puppet character as well. That's also not easy, and it sounds really fun.
Very cool, very ambitious.
I don't know how Preston finds these things. I don't know what I would do without my producer. I kind of just write whatever I think, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll figure out how to make it happen." And when I came to him,
he's a wizard.
Gotta have one of those guys,
right? Yeah. I couldn't tell anybody else that I wanted to make a 6-foot puppet that controls other people with his mind. Only Preston could figure out a way to make that work.
Very, very cool.
But yeah.
Well, yeah, y'all heard it here. The Moth. Coming soon. Indiegogo will be on our socials.
Yep, and in the description.
Donate where you can, and in the description of this episode. Thank you for coming on, Sydney, and we cannot wait to see how this turns out.
Of course. Thanks for having me. Have a good day, y'all.
Welcome back to the podcast. We're talking about monkeys on this episode of the podcast. We talked about the monkey first, but now let's get into the top 5 monkey movies of all time. Norman, monkeys are a special. Are monkeys a top 5 animal for you?
Honestly, probably, yeah. I really like monkeys. and
I agree.
apes and everything. They're funny. They're just freakishly close to us more than any other animal, and I think makes them pretty goofy.
Mm-hmm.
They're smart. They got opposable thumbs. They can hold human stuff the way humans do. You can put clothes on them.
Yep,
They can rip your face off.
they can. Very dangerous. Apes
Very-
are more dangerous than monkeys, though, right? Are monkeys
Yeah,
dangerous?
I think it's more apes. I don't know. You could probably piss off a monkey, but
The monkey in Nope.
yeah,
What was the monkey in Nope's name again?
Gordy,
Gordy. Gordy the
which is
Chimp.
based on a true story.
That's based on a true story?
So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. It's not like based on a TV show, but it's about this woman who had this monkey who one day went crazy and like ripped her face off after she had it for like 8 years.
Wild.
Yeah, very wild. But do you want to get into our list here?
Sure.
I guess I don't know about you, but you just spoiled one of mine. Is Nope on your list?
It wasn't, and then I mentioned it as a train of thought thing, and I literally added it to the list as we're speaking right now. So,
All right, so I guess we'll start with Nope because that is on my list. I guess I'm kind of doing this out of order. I'm not really doing like a ranking.
you're not doing a top five?
All right, you know what? We can do a top five. Well, spoilers for
You-
something later. Then it's not Nope.
Okay. This is podcasting at its finest.
This is podcasting at its finest. So, do you want me to start at number 5?
Yeah, go with number 5.
Number 5. More of an ape than a monkey per se, but one with Kong Skull Island.
Okay. Not a
Um,
monkey, but
You know, he's in the family. That's kind of
he's in the family.
he's a big monkey when you think about it. Yeah, Kong Skull Island. I remember this came out and it just kind of blew me away. I think I saw it 3 times in theaters. I've watched it at home a lot. This is easily my favorite, and I think easily the best. I would even say objectively of this new wave of MonsterVerse movies we get. It's got a giant monkey to start, a giant ape, I guess.
Yep.
Very cool stuff. I think the cast in this movie is like incredible.
It's great.
It is like such a stacked cast, and they're all just giving it 110%. I mean, Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, Sam Jackson, John C. Reilly, John Goodman. Very great
Full of the
cast.
greats.
All the greats. This movie looks beautiful. There are a ton of different other monsters in this movie. Yeah, I think this movie's like fantastic. If you're just kind of looking for a fun action movie with a ragtag team of heroes or whatever, Kong Skull Island is very, very, very good.
It's pretty fun. My brother really, really loves this movie. I'm kind of more of like a Godzilla 2014 defender than I am a Kong Skull Island guy. But
I disagree strongly, but go off.
I know that is not a popular opinion. Most people love Kong Skull Island, and it's kind of like I guess like I don't know if you'd call it underrated or it has a cult following. There's a lot of people there's a few people that are just really passionate about Kong Skull Island. I feel like that includes my brother, and I think it includes you.
Yeah,
But-
I definitely don't view it the same way I used to or really watch it as much anymore, but I think as far as King Kong movies go, it's probably my favorite. And I guess he's technically an ape, but he's a big monkey in my heart, so I had to include him on the list.
That's fair. That's
And
fair.
I think number 5 is a good spot.
Number 5 is a good spot for our good buddy Kong. My number 5 is Walk Hard: The Dewey Cox Story.
Wow.
And I did my top. Let me give a little background on my top 5. Okay, so I'm ranking this not necessarily on the quality of the movie, but I'm ranking it on the impact of the monkey. Okay, so these are my.
This would be number 1 if we were ranking on quality of the movie. I don't know what you got up next,
Yeah,
but Dewey Cox is one of
you're
my
absolutely right. Absolutely right.
If I had a nickel for every time I recommended Dewey Cox to somebody, I would be making $200 million movies
Same here.
out of pocket. I love that movie, but sorry, continue.
It is incredible. I I saw that movie before seeing Walk the Line, and then I saw Walk the Line, and I was like, this is Dewey Cox. But
I saw Dewey Cox, so I never watched Walk the Line.
You don't really need to after it, but
that movie made me hate music biopics for the longest time.
Yeah.
I think they have kind of a resurgence. They're doing cool, fun stuff with some of them.
Complete Unknown
Elvis
is
a
good.
Complete Unknown, yeah, those are ones that I enjoyed. But yeah, Dewey Cox. Sorry, tell us about the monkey in Dewey Cox.
Yes, so Dewey Cox in the movie, as he's sort of going on his, Dewey Cox bender. His whole Dewey Cox life, basically. He has his kids, and he's having some trouble with his, family life at home, and he adopts a monkey, and I believe he adopts a giraffe as well. But Dewey Cox, lover of animals, he gets a monkey, and in a critical moment of the film, Kristen Wiig threatens to take the children away from him because he's too much of a danger to the kids, Dewey Cox is. So, and she eventually says that she's also taking the chimpanzee. And Dewey Cox responds in a very amazing moment. He says, "You can take my children, but you can't take my monkey." And that is just put that next to Citizen Kane. That is one of the greats.
Put it above Citizen Kane, bro.
Put it above Citizen Kane.
I love Dewey Cox.
Yeah, Dewey Cox is incredible. So yeah, that's going to be my number 5. Dewey Cox's monkey in the movie Walk Hard. The Dewey Cox story.
Interesting. I guess I'll get into number 4 here. Kind of briefly mentioned this earlier, but number 4, it had to be Toy Story 3.
Okay.
For OG sneaking into the movie heads. Obviously, we did our Pixar ranking a couple months ago. I love Toy Story 3. This is like top tier Pixar, cream of the crop, my favorite Toy Story movie. Max, how do we feel about Toy Story 3? Have your opinions changed at all since our Pixar tier list?
Nope. Toy Story 3 is fantastic. Best Toy Story movie. Not by far, because all of them are really, really good. But
I would say undoubtedly, though.
I agree with you. Yeah.
No question.
It's the best one.
This is the best one. And is it because it has a monkey? Who's to say?
Yes.
Definitely helps, though. Obviously, I brought this up earlier because this was the monkey that had symbols. There's a kind of classic scene in Toy Story 3. They have that monkey with symbols, very similar to the monkey with the drum from the monkey. Not to confuse anyone with all this monkey business, but who watches over all these cameras, and Woody tries to stop him. And I just remember this monkey beats the shit out of Woody.
Yes.
Woody gets
the symbols
thrown
to the head.
around. Yeah, the symbols to the head. I just remember being a kid and I was like, dang, this creepy looking monkey is rocking Woody. But yeah, I guess it's a toy monkey, but so is the monkey. So I counted it. Feels very relevant because it's pretty much the same monkey from the monkey. I guess it'd probably be number 5 on my list of monkey impacts in the movie, because obviously this monkey is a problem for Woody and the gang, but he's no Lotso. So
definitely.
Yeah, Toy Story 3, just one of the all-time greats.
Truly.
Such a good movie, infinitely rewatchable, gets me every time. The laughs, the tears, just, I love those guys,
Yes.
So,
Fun fact, it is the only Pixar movie, I believe. If you look at the genres on Disney Plus, Toy Story 3 has thriller next to it, which is what it is, but it's cool. It's kind of shocking that they would put that next to a Pixar movie.
I had no idea. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But that is definitely what it is, and it's a pretty thrilling movie, pretty awesome movie. One of the greats.
I feel like that movie takes an odd amount from the Ocean's movies. Or they just kind of try to do a heist.
It's like a Prison Break movie.
Yeah, and like they don't get out at first.
Yeah.
And I just remember that used to scare me. I'd be like, no! And they all get trapped with the freaky toys.
Yeah.
But yeah, Toy Story 3, great thriller. Better thrill than Longlegs?
Yes.
Truth bomb. But that's enough about baby movies. Unless you got one up here, Max. But
I
let's hear
got
your
another baby movie.
All right, let's hear your baby movie.
All right,
4.
my number 4 is
Better not
Curious
be
George,
Okay.
the animated Curious George film from 2006. Got the music from Jake Johnson in here.
That
Really-
could put this at number 1.
Yes, that is
Upside down, come on.
Yep, Upside Down, Talk of the Town. Come on now, listen to that soundtrack all the time. This movie has a really great cast. You've got Will Ferrell in this thing. You've got Drew Barrymore. You've got David Cross. You've got Eugene Levy. You've got Dick Van Dyke. Come on now.
Crazy.
But yeah, no, Will Ferrell as the man with the yellow hat. Really great stuff. Will Ferrell is great in everything. He was really amazing in the SNL 50 special. It's so clear that he has this ability to just walk into any room and make people laugh. He in that one skit he's in with Eddie Murphy and Kenan Thompson.
The Beyond Scared Straight one?
Yes, he breaks them so many times. It's fantastic. There's so many skits in which Will Ferrell like breaks his co-stars because he's just so funny. In Curious George, it's not really about like the, super funny aspects of Will Ferrell. He kind of brings a lot of heart to this role. I remember being really connected to the man with the yellow hat when I was little watching this movie. It's just a really great movie. Great animation too. Like it's really beautifully animated, I thought.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mix of like 2D and 3D, and that doesn't always work. And I'm looking at you, What If? Yeah, no, Curious George, really great animated movie. I love Curious George, the character, the scene where the doorman at the apartment building goes to like find Curious George out, and he's making a mess the entire time. It's a great scene. No pets. That's what the guy says.
Yeah, it has been, I'll admit it, a while since I've seen Curious George, but
Yes.
I definitely thought about it when I was carefully crafting my monkey list here. It is a great time, and that soundtrack is just, whew.
It's incredible.
Um,
But yeah,
Yeah, well-
that's gonna be my number 4. What is your number 3, Norman?
Number 3 is a movie that's been pretty relevant, I feel like, the past year. That is because its very famous prequel finally got a movie made, and that movie is The Wizard of Oz. How
I had
could
that
you
on my list,
possibly...
but it got
This
taken
is on
off.
your list?
It was on the list, but I took it off.
Uh-oh. Okay.
But it is iconic. Yes.
It is iconic. How do you talk about a monkey movie without the flying freaking monkeys, you know?
Oh, geez.
The OG movie monkey menaces, I would say. What else is there to say about The Wizard of Oz that hasn't been said for the past damn near 100 years? Beautiful looking movie, incredible performances, classic songs. I love The Wizard of Oz. I rewatched this before Wicked came out. Don't do that or you'll hate Wicked like I did. But yeah, just like one of the truly timeless movies. I imagine if I saw this in theaters back in the day and I saw it change to color, my head would have exploded. Because, wow. Just such a good movie.
Yeah.
The older I get, the more familiar with filmmaking I get, the more I broaden my taste of film. I always come back to The Wizard of Oz. I'm always finding something new, and I'm always telling myself, damn, there's a reason this is like one of the most iconic movies ever. And that's because it is so damn good.
Definitely.
And it would not be the same without its flying monkeys.
Definitely. The flying monkeys are iconic. I just had a chance to see The Wizard of Oz for the first time in IMAX 3D, I think That was last month. And it was great. What can I say that hasn't been said? The Wizard of Oz. Good movie. Shocker, I know.
Yeah, just so awesome. Timeless. Definition
movie.
of timeless.
It did make, like you said, though, I was a lot, like, I don't know very much about Wicked. Like, I haven't even seen The Wizard of Oz, but I went to see Wicked because it's Wicked. And I thought it was okay. But, yeah, no, after seeing The Wizard of Oz, I was, like, so confused about the popularity of Wicked. Like, yeah, I don't really want to shit on Wicked, but
It's like an MCU Wizard of Oz movie. That's
yeah,
how I feel about Wicked.
yeah. It's like
But-
it feels like kind of like fan fiction, like, and not great fan fiction at that. Like, what if the Wicked Witch and Glinda were roommates in college? And it's just kind of like, eh.
Do you know a lot about? I'm almost done with Wicked talk. Do you know a lot about Part 2?
No,
Okay, I've never seen the play or read the book, but what I've heard about Part 2 is like crazy fan fictiony.
it loops in it intersects with the Wizard of Oz, doesn't it?
Yes, and there's like I won't spoil it for you.
Okay, and our listeners here.
And our listeners, yeah. Maybe I'll tell you after if you're curious. But yeah, Wizard of Oz. What else is there to say? I will say I really did like the flying monkeys in Wicked. Like I thought that when they turned into flying monkeys, that was pretty cool.
Pretty horrific.
Pretty horrific. Horrific is cool though.
Horrific is cool.
Dark,
though.
twisted mind like mine,
Definitely, yeah.
and James Gunn and Matthew Vaughn. But why don't you take us to your number 3, Max?
My number 3 is Toy Story 3, which we talked about already, but it's a classic. The monkey in Toy Story 3 is iconic. They copyrighted it for a reason. They don't want anybody else to have that monkey. Just a really great antagonist in that movie, kind of watching the security cameras, making sure nobody breaks out. If they break out, the monkey's going to, beat those symbols. And, yeah, he does rock Woody. And, yeah, just a really great monkey and a really great movie. So, yeah, it's kind of
Facts.
Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 3.
We've said all that's needed to be said. What is your number 2?
So number 2 got totally spoiled, but it's gonna be Nope.
Okay.
We already just mentioned a little bit. There's a pivotal monkey alert. That'd be Nope. What a movie. One of a modern classic, I would say, easily. Jordan Peele's best movie. Just one of the best blockbusters we've had this decade. What else is there to say about Nope? Really, it is so good. The performances, the atmosphere, everything Jordan Peele just does crank to an 11. It is so good. I saw this movie in IMAX, and then I went and saw it the next day because it just totally blew me away. I love everything about it.
Yeah.
I love Jean Jacket. I love the design. It's horrifying. The stuff with Gordy the monkey is like terrifying. I had not felt that so uncomfortable in a theater in so long. Also devastating, obviously, the shot with he's reaching out for the young Steven Yeun, and then he gets clipped. But yeah, Nope. What a movie. Just, I don't know what else to say. It's Nope.
Yep.
You've seen it or you haven't. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing? If you've seen it, go watch it again. Such a good movie. There's nothing I'm more excited for than Jordan Peele's next movie.
Yep.
Do you concur?
I concur. Nope is one of the greatest movies of all time in my eyes.
I would go there too.
Pretty great use of a monkey as well. When we look at kind of like the monkeys in these movies, you're kind of starting to see a trend of like how they're used in movies. They're kind of this like uncontrollable force in a lot of instances. In Nope, that is also the case. We kind of have a monkey that is honestly very similar to and Oz Perkins and Jordan Peele are friends, so maybe the monkey is somewhat inspired by Nope. But in both instances, you have a monkey that is being manipulated by humans in a way that is for entertainment value, and it horribly backfires on everybody involved pretty much. And
Sure.
in the case of Nope, a bunch of people on a sitcom die and get mauled by a monkey because there is some disturbance in the crowd and it's an animal. You can only train it so much. It has these animal instincts, not unlike us. We have our triggers as well. But that it's just Nope is a great exploration on the relationship between humanity and animals, I think. And
Definitely.
Gordy the chimp is used very well and very effectively in that movie. They make him almost like it's horrific at first, and then you end up feeling terrible about it, about the whole situation in the movie that happens with him, ultimately meeting his demise. And it traumatizes the Steven Yeun character. But yeah, no, great monkey.
Great monkey. What did you have at number 2?
Before we go to number 2, I wanted to mention that the monkey in Nope is played by Terry Notary, who does the mocap for a lot of monkeys throughout movies recently. He was Kong in Kong Skull Island as well as I think he was in the Peter Jackson movie as Kong as well.
Damn.
He plays a lot of monkeys. Like, that's his thing. He does a mocap for the monkeys. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Shout out to Terry Notary, very important person to this discussion. My number
MCU,
2,
the Monkey Cinematic Universe.
yes, the MCU. My number 2 in the MCU is The Fabelmans.
Wow.
Yeah, this is also another great use of a monkey in the movie. The monkey kind of comes into play when Steven Spielberg or Sammy Fabelman's parents' relationship is kind of falling apart, and the monkey gets introduced as this kind of like, again, the monkey kind of represents chaos and also the creative streak within Sammy Fabelman's mother and himself as well. Just this kind of like creative chaos that's kind of unleashed within the house in this monkey. And it's something that, is fun and yet heartbreaking at the same time for what it means for the family and that point in the movie. Again, just a great use of a monkey, and also, monkeys have been used across Steven Spielberg's filmography. So, this is an autobiographical movie. I'm assuming that actually happened. Did his mother? Do you know if that's true? Did they have a monkey?
I would imagine.
Yeah. So if we're going off of this is true, that would make sense as to why there are many monkeys across Steven Spielberg's filmography throughout the Indiana Jones movies, and more. I'm sure the Indiana Jones movies jump to mind though. Yeah.
Almost made my list, Indiana Jones, but
that is good.
Wasn't quite monkey enough for me.
Yeah. Indiana Jones almost made my list too, but yeah, no, like you said, not enough monkey. But yeah, The Fabelmans is a really great movie. Autobiographical picture on Steven Spielberg's life and upbringing.
One of his best movies, I would say.
I would agree with that.
Steven Spielberg is a director so good, I would call him underrated, which seems like a crazy thing to say, but hey, here we are. People don't give that guy his flowers.
For real. I
know we're all in our 20s. We're all film bros. We want to be cool. We love our Lynches. God bless his soul. I love David Lynch and our Godards and our Bergmans.
Great appearance in The
Kurosawas. Yeah, what an appearance. But come on, Steven Spielberg, just one of the best to ever do it. I think he is maybe the only director you could put any script in front of, and he could probably make a pretty damn good movie. So, yeah, if you haven't seen The Fabelmans, what are you doing? Go watch The Fabelmans.
The Fabelmans is fantastic.
So good. But I guess that'll take us to my number 1 pick.
Mm-hmm.
So I did want to try and go one by every series for this, because if I didn't, it would be 5 Planet of the Apes movies. But number 1 is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
You picked an ape movie in the number 1 spot in a top 5 monkey list. Wow.
I had to.
I can't even believe this.
I had to. What better primate family movie is there than Dawn of the Planet of the Apes?
Banger movie, though.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite blockbusters ever, period. One of my favorite movies of the 2010s. This is my favorite movie from Matt Reeves, which may sound crazy because he did make the best Batman movie ever, but that should just tell you how good Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is. It
Truly.
is so good. It's generational performances from everyone playing a bunch of apes, but it's also real. Koba is one of my favorite movie villains ever. I rewatched this before not watching the new Apes movies for some reason, but God, Koba is so good. He is probably a top 5 movie villain for me, no joke.
Yep.
That dude is terrifying. He is so cool. I'm a grown ass man, and last time I watched it, I was getting a little nervous because it's just Koba. But Caesar's arc is just fantastic in this movie specifically. They kind of turn him into Jesus. It's kind of crazy. He dies and is resurrected, and he's the savior of the apes. They play into it a lot more in War. A little.
Where are you at on War?
I like War a lot. I think
Okay.
Dawn is an impossible movie to follow up, but I think War is pretty damn great. I like it more than Rise. But I love that modern trilogy of Apes movies.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the new one yet. I just didn't see it in theaters. Dropped the ball as a so-called monkey ape fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I just knew it wouldn't be as good as Matt Reeves' Apes movies.
It wasn't.
That's what I heard. One day I will watch it. Maybe I'll talk about it on here. But yeah, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. One of the best to ever do it.
Yep.
Perfect primate picture.
That I can't disagree with that. I ended up liking on the rewatch War a little more, which was shocking because I was of that same opinion that Dawn is this immovable,
The perfect primate
great
picture.
movie. Yes, the perfect primate picture, the PPP. Yeah, but Dawn is great. It's a great pick for number 1. I'm gonna, there's a little bit of a boring pick because we already talked about it a million times. But my number 1 was Nope. When that got, when we talked about it right before this discussion, I had forgotten about it, but shot it right up to number 1 on the list because in terms of monkey impact and quality of movie, it's the total package. Total package.
That's fair.
So yeah, my number 1 is Nope. We talked about it to death already, but yeah, that is
What do you think it is?
That is the MCU, the top 5 monkey movies of all time. Yeah, just let us know, in the Instagram comments or comment wherever what your favorite monkey movies are.
Or primate pictures. Doesn't have to just be monkeys. Talking
Primate
apes,
pictures.
gorillas, chimpanzees. Is it Rampage with The Rock? It could be whatever. We're a judgment-free zone here.
Yep.
But I think that's going to be it for our episode. Once again, very important. Look out for the Moth. We will be posting the Indiegogo on Sneaking Into the Movies, and I'll post it on my social media for those of y'all who follow me. And we will be back next week with our favorite movies of 2024, as well as the Oscars.
Yes.
I know
Stay
we have
tuned.
about a minute left here, Max, but just off the top of your head right now, don't even think about it. Who's winning Best Picture? Not who you want to win, but who's winning it?
Knee-jerk reaction is The Brutalist.
It's going to be Conclave for some weird reason. You heard it here first.
Conclave won at the SAG Award. It's not like Best Picture, but Conclave. I was watching the SAG Awards last night, and Conclave won the Best Ensemble. So, not that SAG decides Best Picture, but they picked
And what should it
Conclave
be?
for that?
Actually, don't tell me that, because we'll say that for our top 12. But, yeah, we will see. As well as your monkey movie picks. Send us your Oscar predictions. What you think's gonna win? Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, whatever. What got snubbed? Let us know. And yeah, we will see you next week. And we look forward to sneaking in with y'all again.
Before we go, if we're being real, they should just cancel the Oscars and nominate all these monkey movies.
They should. The Oscars should just be monkey movies. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But then Wicked would win. No.
Thank you for sneaking into the movies with us. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.